So, hi everyone, welcome to yet another episode of TAM Talk #Tales. Today we have with us Sanjeev Kumar Das. Sanjeev is the president and country head of NSHM Uran Skill Foundation. NSHM Uran, as we all know, has been a breakthrough in skill development and in training, and has been continuously working with National Skill Development Corporation for providing training and developing skills for lakhs and lakhs of youths and entrepreneurs all around. So, welcome, Sanjeev.
Hi, welcome. Good afternoon.
So, thank you so much for coming to TAM Talk.
Yeah, thank you. Same to you for giving this opportunity to connect to the people.
So, it has been a pleasure for me, Sanjeev. Thank you very much. So, my first question to you is that please share with us your success story with NSHM, starting from the scratch.
Right. See, as far as our venture is concerned, we have started in the year 2012, or you can say at the beginning of 2013 we have started. We have joined hands with National Skill Development Corporation. That is the apex body in the country. They are basically into developing employable skills, entrepreneurship aspirations to the youth of the country. Because it is known to all of us that there is a huge disconnect in terms of education to employability. Students, those who are getting out of colleges, universities, even if those who are engineer, MBAs, they are lacking in employable skills. So giving them the right skills so that the moment they are out of the college, they get jobs and they can contribute to the development of the country is a big challenge. Moreover, if you look at the industry, there are people coming out of college after passing out graduation or university degree. At the same time, you will see there are many dropouts. So there are many points where in our country we find dropouts after class 8. A huge chunk of people, they stop their education. Mostly girl child in the villages, in the remote part of the country, will find girl, they stop learning after class 8. Another time when it happens in a big chunk, that is after school final. So after their 10th standard, they got over. So they discontinue their education. Similarly, another percentage of student they discontinue is after class 12. So if you see, just for an example, I'm saying 1 million people, 1 million students getting into education system every year. That is, this data I'm giving just for an example, just to understand. So 1 million, if they are getting into the schooling system, starting from the primary education, you will find after class 8, 17 to 19% people are getting dropped out. So same way, after class 10, another 15 to 18% students, they are getting dropped out. In the class 12 level, another 11 to 13% dropped out. So finally, when higher education comes, you will find only 51% to 48% students are actually getting into the higher education system. Rest 50%, they are already dropped out. So students, those who are dropped out, that does not mean they could not continue their education. That does not mean that they don't require jobs. They don't require livelihood. They don't require money to survive. They also require jobs. They also have their families. They need to also have monies in their hand. So this segment is mostly victimized in our society. Their academic education is not completed. So they cannot apply for government jobs, because most of the time we'll find government job, they require either +2 or graduation. So they are lacking in that. After that, till class 8 or till class 10, if you see the education which has been provided to them in our country, most of the board exam or CBSE, ICSE, whichever board you take care, these are not linked to the market. So it is mostly bookish knowledge, it is mostly mathematics, science, history, geography. That does not give a job to a student. So giving them skills is very, very important at this point of time when they are discontinuing their school education, higher education. At that point of time, if it is not provided to them, they cannot be, brought into the mainstream of, employability or entrepreneurship, whatever. Entrepreneurship is also a big challenge. because they do not have the access to fund, they do not have access to capital, they do not have access to other resources for setting up businesses. So our aim when we have set up this venture in NSHM Udan, so our objective was how we are going to give required skill to this set of students, so that whichever point they are discontinuing, whichever point they are dropped out, they should not feel that they are out of the track. They should also feel like they have the required skills, and they should get into the industry, and they should start contributing to their family at the same time to the economy. So most of our initiative is basically targeted to this crowd. We have various level of training program, because in the country there is something called NSQF, National Skill Qualification Framework, based on which every sector has got their curriculum ready, starting from level 1 to level 10. So we have program for class 8 students, those who have dropped out after class 8. So we have level 1 program, level 2 program. Students, those who have dropped out after class 10, we have level 4 program. Students, those who have dropped out after 12, we have level 5, level 6 program. So that is actually, sending them to the industry with required skill. And in last 7-8 years, we have trained more than 76,000 students. Pan India, we are saying. We are present in 17-18 states. We are working with various state government. We are with many central government skill development schemes, because government is a big spender. We are also participating in corporate social responsibility program, where big corporates, they are also contributing their profit for the development of the society in terms of spending on skill developments. So we are working with many such organizations. So both way we are targeting that we should reach out to this segment and contribute to the society.
Ooh, that was wonderful, and it was so data oriented. That was also, when you were telling, I was listening. It is so data oriented. So I'm sure that is one of also the reason of your success. That is one of the success mantra. That is so much of data orientation is there. So that is also great.
Yeah. Yes, because if you do not have the track on the data, so your contribution, you cannot see. Measurement is very important part. Measurement in terms of yes, what you are actually targeting, that has to be measured, and at the same time, how much you are able to deliver, that has to be also measured. So just working, we don't think that is sufficient. You need to check, and the partnership we have with NSDC, that is also very much data oriented. It is a 10-year relationship we have built with NSDC, and we have targeted that we will be training and placing 10 lakh students in this 10 year.
Wow.
Okay, so a target has been set.
Okay. In fact, I was about to ask you that what are your future visions with NSHM and all. So yes, you have already answered that yes, you have been collaborating with these bodies. So the point is, I would like to understand from you that how you and NSHM are planning to add maximum value to recruitment.
Recruitment in terms of whom we are recruiting in our organization, or
like
students, those who are sent?
Students who are sent to you, and yes. So how
right,
trying to maximize that.
If you, as I told you, if you look at today's students, those who are aspiring to get into the industry, and if you measure their lacuna, if you try to measure their shortcomings, you will find there are two basic areas. One is the domain skill, the core skill, which they basically lack. At the same time, there is another area which also we need to be looked after. That is basically the soft skill. The communication skill, or the way they interact with the people. So whichever industry, see in our country till before COVID era, we have seen that 60% recruitments are happening in the service sector. The recruitment which are happening in manufacturing sector is very, very low. That too in very specific telecommunication or something like that. Rest of whatever recruitment is happening, at least I can tell you about my experiences with my organization. Our 70 to 75% recruitments are happening in service sector. And we have seen, if you are placing someone in And before you do anything at your service place, you have to meet and greet your customer. That is very, very important. Whichever job role you are into, and whichever job specification has been given to you, whatever is your KRA, despite all these, your first thing starts with a meeting and greeting with a customer. So if you are lacking in communication, if you are lacking in creating delight in your interaction with your customer, you are not going to successful in your work. So that is the reason subsequent time we spent all our students to the soft skilling program, communication program. When I say soft skilling, does not mean a person need to speak English very fluently, because after dropping out from class 8 or after dropping out from class 10, it is very, very difficult for a person to train English, and after 15 days of intervention or 1 month of intervention, they will become English expert. That is a wrong concept basically. 2 months of English learning, 3 months of English learning, these are all wrong concept. I do not believe in this, neither we believe in this. What we try to basically impart in them is the confidence. So whichever language you speak to with your to the person whom you are talking to, your customer, to your boss, to whoever, you should have the confidence. You should be able to explain the thought what you have, and you should see whenever you have an interaction, the important part is meeting the requirement. Means the person whom you are interacting, what he wanted to say, what he is wanting, what services he wants, and if you can understand that, the basic job is done. So if I understand what you are wanting from me, so my basic job is done, then I can conforming to the requirement becomes very easy. I can service your requirement. If you do not understand, it is very difficult that you can meet that requirement. So that is a major part. 40% of our study, we try to focus on that. And I advise all the students, whoever is attending today's session, whoever will go through the recorded session, a basic learning. What we have learned in our organization of our last 7-8 years of experiences, that if you do not have proper communication skill, it is very difficult. Instead of going for an automobile course, instead of going for a retail sales program or a beauty program or a healthcare program, first you realize that communicating in a right way, understanding the requirement of your customer is very, very important. Either you will become a nurse, or you become a retail sales associate, or you become a call center executive, or you will sit in a bank, or you will service to a customer at a different customer place. Everywhere you have to meet people. You have to understand what people are wanting, and you have to deliver that. For that matter, understanding the requirement is very important. So improve the communication skill. You need to understand that is the major important aspect of any transaction in the world. So apart from that, I'm not saying that is 100%. You have to also choose which course, what you aspire to become in your life. I'm not saying you have to get into a specific program where jobs are there. There are jobs. Because of COVID, there are many problems in current scenarios. Things are stalled now, but situation is improving. That are also coming. Today only I was reading in Economic Times that food delivery business has already reached to 90% of pre-COVID level. That means this Zomato and there are many organizations, there are many food delivery service companies. The kind of business they used to do before COVID, they have already reached to the 90% of their business. This is a very significant and positive news for us. Dine-in restaurant, they are not doing well because still there are containment zones, there are obstructions. So that business has hugely hampered. Because of that, hospitality industry is going through a bad phase. But one part of hospitality, which is food delivery business, that has come out of this pandemic now. So that's what I'm saying. So don't get disheartened seeing what is happening now. Situation across the world, there are a lot of good news are coming. There are, you see, 2-wheeler, 4-wheeler, when started, I think 1 month back, we were only getting bad news that sales are declining. Today, you go to any 2-wheeler shop, whether it is Honda, whether it is Honda or TVS, there are queues. You will not get. I called 2 days back. I found there is a specific model. They are saying you will get after 2 months. Because there are demand. People are preferring to travel through their own vehicles now. So that impact, whatever was there in the auto industry, I think auto industry will improve. So there is a good amount of career can happen in automobile now. After 1 year, 2 year, when this new stage of Bharat will come, new vehicles will come with the new norms, and the pandemic effect will go down. So there will be very good, level of opportunity will come in automobile industry. Similarly, a student needs to understand what is his aspiration. क्या बनना चाहता हूँ मैं, क्या बनना चाहिए मेरे को, कहाँ पे अच्छा लगेगा काम करके. Understanding that, at the same time you evaluate that what are the opportunity will come, not now, after 6 months, because whichever course you will join from today, it will take 3 months, 5 months, 6 months of time. तो वो टाइम हाथ में लेके और क्या बनना चाहते हो, mix up that and then you choose, and 30-40% time you spend on your capability building, on your communication, your smartness, your confidence development. I think rest can be taken care.
Wonderful. I'm sure people who are watching out there has got a very clear idea from what Sanjeev says, that please try to build confidence, and communication is also very important, but communication does not mean language. It is what you are actually trying to make others, whatever in your mind, you have to make them understand. So that is what Sanjeev is actually telling us. So wow. So now we have a rapid fire round with you, Sanjeev. I think I already told you.
Rapid fire.
Yes, that's a rapid fire round. And I will be asking you 2 questions. The answer either you have to give in yes or no. You cannot choose both. And if you are giving yes, you have to give a reason for that. Again, if you are giving no, you also have to give a reason for that. Okay? So you cannot choose both. Okay?
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So my first question to you is that who you think is more powerful, man or woman, and why?
Who is more powerful, man or woman?
More powerful, yes. Man or woman, and why?
See, this is a very tricky question. If you ask me to give you a answer which is diplomatic, then I have to give a diplomatic answer. If you ask me an answer which is from my heart, then I will never say yes or no, because I do not believe any one of these is more powerful than other.
See, you chose both. You have to choose one.
No. See, the diplomatic answer would be, I don't want to dishearten anyone by saying that men are more powerful than women get disheartened, and I don't want to say women are powerful than men get disheartened. This is a diplomatic answer. And the right answer, if you ask me what is there in my heart, what I genuinely believe, none of these are, powerful. So the power comes from the other half. So if you are a man, if you do not get power from your woman, then you are powerless. Similarly, a woman get power from the man. If that power is not coming from a man, woman is powerless. So each one is complementing each one. So individually, if you think I am more powerful than a woman, then you are wrong. Similarly, if a woman is thinking that she is more powerful than a man, then she is also wrong. So it is a complementing relationship. So both of us together, we think we can rule the world.
Wow. Convincing skill is again another point for being so successful. Good. It's a very good answer. I think good. One of the best answers I've ever got, because I keep asking these questions to everyone who comes to my talk show. Okay. So my second question to you is that what do you think, lockdown is good or bad, and why?
Lockdown is obviously good. So in this question, I would not give you a diplomatic answer like this, what I said earlier. So lockdown is good in many sense, because what we are going through, if you have to delay that, I mean to say the spread of this virus, death out of this virus, if you want to delay this, because you do not have any vaccine at this point of time, only thing is possible that you take precautions. You maintain whatever has been told by the state or the government, or whoever you feel like is a credible agency, whoever you have the trust. I'm not saying that who is saying you have to follow, or state or central, but you have to believe someone, and you have to maintain those thing like masking, then sanitizing, then your distancing, and at the same time a country washing, absolutely, and a country like us, 130, a huge country. So you have to just delay you have to save the people of the country. So you cannot take any risk. I know there are a lot of economic impact which has happened in last 2-3 months. Many people have lost job. There are a lot of lays off, lot of non-productive days we have gone through. But what I believe, if we would have not done this, we would have seen more dangerous scenarios today. Still the situation is improving, death rate is decreasing, positivity is also increasing. Yesterday's report, somehow we are managing it well, the way other world has managed. I think that is the pain we have to go through, and hope that vaccine will come soon, and herd immunity will develop, which has been also I think one of the major positive thing, because antigen test is happening, antibody test is happening. So 17%, 18% population is already developed herd immunity. So that is another way to fight this pandemic. So I hope we have to bear the cost of it, but lockdown has to happen.
Okay. Oh, thank you so much, Sanjeev, for joining in, and your suggestions and your valuable thoughts definitely has been made this entire talk show so enriching. Thank you very much. And for the viewers out there who are watching us, you can kindly log into www.tamanas.net for training, for coaching, and for learning. You can also stay connected with me on the go. Download Wix app and give the code ZLIEAX. You can also stay connected in LinkedIn, in Facebook, in Instagram, in Twitter. And please do not forget to like and subscribe my YouTube channel, which is Tamanna Training and Transformation. So till then, stay happy, stay safe, wash your hands, wear your mask, as also Sanjeev said. And thank you. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Stay safe. Thank you.